Welcome to Coach Business, the podcast. I'm your host, Caryn Gillen, and I'm a coach. And I'm here with Coach Molly Claire, who has also been coaching a long time. Molly, how many years have you been coach?
11 years.
11 years. 11 years. I've been here 15. We've been coaching a lot.
Oh, that's a lot of coaching, a lot of
A lot of
hours.
coaching between our two brains right here. And a cool thing that I want to talk about because Molly and I have both been, I don't know what you would just given opportunities to be a little more visible in certain coaching communities. And that's had an impact on us and on our businesses. And it's something I wanted to talk about with her because I think a lot of people look at it and make things up. And I want you all to understand it. And one of the ways we're going to look through that lens today is Molly. And is it 13 of your master coaches?
12 of them. So 13
Okay.
of us total. Yep, 12 of my master coaches. Yeah.
Have written a book and it is out and you were able to buy it. But I think it's a good example of Molly now using her platform and her impact to say, hey, let's publish a book. Let's take what you know and put it together and do something cool. So just tell us a little bit about like how you had this idea or how it came together. I
Oh,
want to hear all about it.
yes. Oh my gosh. So this project came together pretty quickly, actually. I was approached by someone to be a part of a book anthology where they were wanting me to be a contributing author in this book that was, it was endorsed by Tony Robbins and was this thing that seemed like a great opportunity. I was curious about it. But as I started looking into it, for me, the content and the focus and the entire thing, it didn't quite feel aligned to me. And I know you and I could have a
Mm-hmm.
whole conversation about that because,
Yeah.
you and I are big on that alignment. But what this did is it got me thinking, who I'd really like to write a book with is these powerful master coaches in my community. And I started thinking about their faces and their voices and the ways that they support their clients in grief and the way that they are supporting their clients with overwhelm and with nervous system regulation. And it truly, I was like out on a walk in my neighborhood, and it's like I've got to do this. And truly, we got the project going. We had our first meeting like mid to late May. We got it going. All of these authors that I reached out to, these coaches were on board, and we made it happen. And the book, of course, as this is airing, the book is out. It came out on September 30th. And so that's kind of how it began. But I'll say a couple more things about that, and that is that um, there is a lot of power in connecting with, collaborating with, and building something together with others who are aligned with your mission and your
Mm-hmm.
purpose. And I saw this as not only a joy for me to be able to bring this together and lead this mission and the message that we have from the work that we do. Um, but also I knew that I did have an opportunity to give my clients, these coaches, more visibility because they're
Mm-hmm.
brilliant women. They are gifted. They are all heart. And I want to help them get out there. So it's been a really cool project full of like heart and soul and enthusiasm and a lot of fears along the way. But that's kind of the book in a nutshell.
Yeah. Can you show us the cover?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just got it yesterday. Um, it's called She Rises: Insights and Wisdom from the Women of the Masterful Coach Collective. And it's got all of their beautiful names here. And each woman has contributed a chapter that speaks to their specialty. It's sharing their stories. And so it's a really, I feel like it's just a must have because not only is it giving guidance and wisdom on the whole spectrum of things that we face in life, right? Challenges that come upon us and growth that we're seeking. Um, but also, it has this common thread woven throughout of really helping women to know themselves and to care for themselves and connect with who they are. And there's just a lot of self-respect at the foundation of the growth. So it's
I
pretty
love it.
cool. Yeah.
Did you have anyone say no to your offer to write a book with you?
uh, with this book here, this
Yeah.
specifically. Well, so here's what we did. I gathered my trained master coaches, and I was like, this is the opportunity. So I didn't know if we would do 10 or 12 authors. So all in all, we probably gathered together maybe 18 to 20 women, and then it was just something people could apply and choose to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, truly, I believe within 5 days, we had all 12 of these authors committed. And it just worked out perfectly because I knew I didn't want any more than 12. I wanted 10 to 12. And that was the exact amount that were ready to do it. And
Yeah.
some of the others
Perfect.
were like, this isn't the opportunity for me or it's not the timing. But yeah.
Yeah. And who is your ideal reader of this book?
Oh, that's a really hard question to answer in some ways because, um, you know, the chapters do cover things like, uh, how to like for example inner boundaries, like what does it mean to be setting boundaries in our life, not just those external but how we honor what we need internally, right? And that lends itself to relationships, to how we engage at work. There's a chapter on grief from one of my coaches. She specializes in helping moms who've lost their child,
Mm-hmm.
but it speaks to grief, the bigger picture
Yeah.
of it. um, and there is a chapter on actually there's one chapter called why I make grown men cry. and
Because it's fun. No,
and
just kidding.
and that one's written by Patty Kohler, and she helps men with their emotions, specifically. And so, there's a lot there in terms of, dropping perfectionism, nervous system regulation. But truly, in essence, this book is going to be for the woman who is seeking growth, who is seeking inspiration, who wants her life to be better and wants to feel better equipped and more resilient in facing life's challenges.
So if I were going to say that, I'd be like, so someone who listens to the Mel Robbins podcast will love this book.
Absolutely. And people listening to your podcast. I mean,
Right,
right?
right.
Like we're here because we yeah, we're all in on our lives and our growth.
I love it. Okay. So how was it for you? I'm assuming this is kind of the biggest way that other than maybe your podcast, you've shared your network or your community with people. You've said, hey, these people stand with me. I'm co
Mhm.
signing on who they are and what they do. So, how's that been for you?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I have to say it's such an honor to me because I mean, these women are brilliant. And of course, they've done my master coach training and I've taught them what I know and I've taught them my tools. But I mean, Caryn, you know this as well as I do, that the greatest gifts that have come out in them as coaches, I can't give that to them, right? That
Mm-hmm.
already existed in them. It's bringing that brilliance out. And so it was very easy for me to, because these weren't just random people, right? And so for me, it's like, I just feel it is such an honor, and I just feel so excited for them to have more visibility and the
Mm-hmm.
visibility that's going to help them to help more people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I will say though, I felt a little bit of pressure because just a few days ago, I met with our book guy, and I don't think it had settled in, because as we're having this conversation, the book isn't out at this moment, right? But as people
Right.
are listening, it's out. But in the recording of, I met with him a few days ago, and I said, I don't think this has sunk in, and I'm honestly feeling a bit of pressure. Like, I want to do this justice. I want to do this justice for all of these women that are a part of the project. So that's been
Uh-huh.
there for me as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's weighty, right? Because you have people who are feeling hopeful and they want something to come
Yeah.
from this, and you're like, we're doing this thing. We put in a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah, it's big.
they've all worked through a lot of fears and overcome obstacles. And, it's a big deal. I mean, just this week when I posted in our Slack community, and it's like, congratulations, like your book it's real, like you are an author. And, I
Yeah,
asked the question, how many of you thought you were going to be an author when you started this year? And none of them, right? And so it's just, it's a really cool thing to share in that celebration together.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to put the link in the bio so people can pick up the book for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yes.
But now I want to take it back to more of you and I and our stories in business and times where we were associated with a teacher or a brand or a business in a way that it really helped us in a
Mhm.
way that hopefully is about to happen with this book and your people, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So I'm just curious because you said before we hit record, I have so many thoughts. Like, what are some thoughts that you have about
I
this?
do have so many thoughts. Because my experience in being, when I started my coaching journey, like I started with the life coach school, and I was literally on a conference line with Brooke Castillo, dialing in every day to a
Mhm.
conference line. And it was so old, beyond old school, and it was so personal and so small. And
Was
and when
it 1-800-FREEConferenceCall.com?
I think so. I think it
Yes.
was. I think it was.
That is the original. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, right? And there's plenty I can say about this, but in terms of the thoughts, I just think about where I was then, and all that I've experienced over this last little over a decade, and the ups and the downs and conflict I've had to work through at times.
Mhm.
And it's been one of the best things of my life. I've had the most growth, and it is a huge fat mixed bag of
Yeah,
experiences and emotions.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say it's the same thing on my kind of foray into benefiting business wise from someone else's
Mhm.
business, right? So
Mhm.
I was a mentor coach for Stacy Smith before she was Stacy Bayman.
Mhm.
In her first round of mentor coaches that she had in her 2K for 2K program.
Mhm.
And at that point, I was a weight loss coach. And
Mhm.
it was during that time that I looked at my client roster and realized I was business coaching 90% of the people on my client roster. And I was fully booked. And there's a massive benefit that I had from being in that position of
Yeah.
visibility and support. And it was work. And I left that community and did that when it was perfect for me. And but
Mhm.
I know that like in both of those communities, there's a mixed bag of experiences for
Yeah.
folks.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But I still benefit, right? Like there are still people that I work with today who met me because I did that experience.
Yeah.
And that was pre-COVID, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what I'll say to that as well, like with my experience in the life coach school, it was, I really was like, I'm going to raise my hand to every opportunity.
Hmm.
I'm going to do all the things. I'm going to go all in. I was very serious about building my business,
Yeah.
very serious about succeeding, and I felt that I knew that I had so much to gain from any experience that I could possibly get. And so, initially, those first several years that I was building my business and doing contract work for the life coach school, I mean, to say I was making decent, like even close to decent money is just not true. I mean,
Right.
I would look at the amount of time that I would put in training coaches and helping to cultivate their skills. And it was like what we would do way back in the day is have a 3-month period where we were listening to audios and giving feedback. And we were in this chat. It was very intense. And it required me to put most of my business actually on hold and
Right.
dedicate my time there and make $3,000. And when you're talking about $3,000 spread out over 3 months, that's not very much money.
No. No. Uh-uh.
But what I'll say about that is I'm so grateful because the experience and the ways that an experience like that, as you build your skills and are really in it, the ways that it can infuse confidence in you
Hmm.
is really what I needed. Is really what
Yeah.
I needed. So I think about all the time and energy and all the effort and all that I freely gave with like either zero or very to little monetary reward. Best way I could have spent my time and energy.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
you've done a really great job of taking whatever kind of visibility that you got there and using it to build something that you wanted to be the face
Mhm.
of, right? Because people
Mhm.
can have an experience like that and do nothing from it,
Mhm.
or you can do something like what you've done. So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about how you've taken opportunity and turned
Mhm.
it into the business that you have today, like what's related, what's not related.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a funny thing because you know, I don't, I can't say that it was really intentional
Hmm.
necessarily. It's not like I was thinking, oh, how do I leverage this visibility?
Right.
But it just happened,
Yep.
right? Because, um, you know, I was, you know, one of the early coaches in that community. I did master coach training right away. I trained a lot of coaches. I developed a lot of curriculum. So because I was there and I was in front of people, a lot of people knew who I was. And it was like, I'm sure you remember this, Caryn. It was the weirdest experience. There was a period of time for a few years where I would go to a life coach school event and your people are acting like I'm a celebrity. And
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
weirdest experience. And I get why it's that way, right? Because they've
Yeah.
seen me on a screen alongside someone who they kind of worship, right? And
Hmm.
it's kind of like when we were younger in TV, like someone's
Yeah.
on TV, right?
You're on
And
the
so
pedestal.
I know. And so it was the weirdest experience. And it was a little bit, I mean, it's a weird experience because I'd be like walking down the hall in the hotel and people are like whispering and pointing. It was the craziest thing. And I could say more about that, but I don't even remember what you asked me actually.
I
I've
think
gone on.
it's
You were,
really just how you continue to like, because there's the
yeah,
benefits of being associated with someone else's brand and business, and we have
yes,
that. We take it, we run with it as long as
yeah,
possible usually, and then there's like how you build up what's yours now in a way that really works
yes,
for you.
yes, yes, totally. So yes, it was very interesting that I was in front of so many people, and it really was. Again, I'm so glad that I was like, there, show up, do everything you can, because it allowed this really unique opportunity to have really many of my ideal clients that were in this space and a chance for them to get to know what was unique about me in this, right?
Hmm.
And so as I'm teaching and my approach and my language and everything stood out as different, from the way Brooke taught or whatever, because and
Hmm.
everyone does, right? And so what a gift that people were able to connect with and feel what I bring. And the truth is that they and I kind of want to speak to this in terms of, in general terms and in terms of helping your listeners with this, but it's like there was a huge amount of trust that people had in me
Yeah.
because I was basically backed by someone else that they trust,
Right.
which can be
Just
a
like when we
double-edged
make a
sword when they
referral.
stop trusting that person.
Exactly.
But that's another episode.
Yeah, they're going to put you in that camp, whether it's good or bad.
Yes,
And then it's
yes,
like, how do I differentiate myself from that? What is me? What is not me?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And mhm.
Yeah. And I think about like for everyone who has ever referred anyone to Molly or myself, when that happens, you are saying, I trust this person. And the person who's being referred trusts that referral as much as they trust the referrer. So
Yep.
whenever we send somebody anywhere, whether it's a restaurant or to a coach or whatever, we're always sending our trust along with that person, which is why it's so important to be 100% sure that you know how those people work and that you believe in what they do and how they show up. So
Mhm.
just as
Yeah.
a little aside.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one of the things that I really encourage my coaches to do when they're starting their business is find those people who already have your ideal clients right in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the easiest way to build a business. It's the easiest way to get the clients that are aligned for you. And I think it's a lot easier than we make it a lot of the time. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it's a lot easier than
It's
we make it.
simpler, but not necessarily easy.
Yeah, yeah. So there you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. So that led me to a question that kind of slipped my mind. But I'm thinking about what else you want to say about this, because I don't know, totally lost that question and it's going to come back to me. But like, what
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
want
I
to
know
make
how that goes.
sure
Yeah.
that people know about when you come off of someone else's audience?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and I wish that I think this is really important is that anytime that we are, well, this is what I'll say. I'm going to actually reference a podcast that kind of talks about the same thing. So one of the podcasts that my client Patty, her husband, Mark J. Kohler, has an awesome podcast. He talks tax and legal. And one of his podcasts that I listened to was about uh, influencers. And
Mm-hmm.
he says, like, flat out, you can make a lot of money as an influencer. And what you need to do with that money is you need to invest it because it's not going to last. And it's like,
Mm.
he's just like, this is the fact of it, right? Now, who knows? Is it going to last? Is it going to switch into something else? Maybe. But oftentimes, when especially if we're relying on visibility from someone else or another
Mm-hmm.
brand, we anytime in life, but we want to remember that we don't know where that brand or that person is going to go. We don't know if that's going to shut down. We don't know if their reputation is going to go out the window. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's important to certainly, you know, leverage those opportunities that we have. And I feel like leverage can seem like a slimy word, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, no, you
if you
should.
have an opportunity to be in front of people, utilize that, but be
Mm-hmm.
very careful about putting all your eggs in that basket. And that is a lesson that I am very grateful that I learned early on in my experience, because there was a time at which I was doing contract work and I was supposed to have a pretty significant contract coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And within 24 hours, that contract was pulled right out from under me. And I went from thinking that my finances for the coming 6 months were going to be set, and I already had plans of how I was going to invest that in my business growth, and then it was just gone just like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it was a really terrible day for me and the best day for me, because I
Yeah.
remember at that point in time saying, I'm going to continue this path of doing this work and this contract work, and I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket. I'm not going to put my eggs in someone else's basket. I need to make sure that I am building me because I'm the only one that I can count on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's time to weave your own basket at a certain point.
Yes, that's right. And I'm glad that it forced me to do that, because I've seen other friends and colleagues that were really leaning on visibility, leaning on someone else's brand, and really counting on that to be their bread and butter for the long term. And then when it went away, it was a pretty big struggle.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think as contractors, one of the things that I notice people do a lot is they talk about their boss. And I'm like, no, if
Mm.
you're a contractor, that person's your client.
Yeah,
That's
that's
one,
right.
that is one of your clients. And if you only have one client, it's always volatile, right? So I'm like, you got to have at least three clients, even if
Yep,
one of them is big. You don't
yep,
want to, as a corporate coach or consultant, you don't want to just have one business you work with. And
yep,
any kind of coaching or consulting, you want to diversify, they say.
yeah,
It's good for business.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed and coach some people through is I'm a part of someone else's coaching business. Things are going really good. I'm getting lots of clients because I'm so visible and people have that trust. So I'm going to go out on my own and keep my projections the same and everything's going to be amazing. And then I'll make $1 million next year. And then they leave that person's company and their revenue tanks because they're outside of the circle. They're no longer generating all of that person's new eyeballs on their business. That's now their job that they didn't even have to do as much before. So this
Yeah.
is just sort of that heads up anyone who's working for anybody else and really benefiting and loving it. It's not a direct translation into your own practice. And I saw that for sure. And I'm guessing you saw that too.
Oh, absolutely, right? Because it's like one of the biggest, problems, quote unquote, that we solve for in our business is a traffic problem, right? Are we
Mm-hmm.
having enough people with their eyes on me? And and so if you're relying on someone else's audience, someone else's business, leaning on that brand, having that visibility, that's your traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you move to your own thing and you're no longer having that visibility, you've kind of like you've got to rebuild, okay, how do I get the traffic now, right? And
Right.
so it's a traffic issue. It's also a to your point, a trust factor, because
Mm-hmm.
you're going from a lot of people seeing you and a lot of people trusting you to needing more traffic and needing to build in that, know, like, and trust factor.
Right. Which takes
So
time. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and even the thing is, so I know we're talking about, um, leveraging visibility, with another leader or mentor or business. But I experienced this another time as well because my sister and we were in business together. For 3 years, we had a fantastic business together. We loved it. And as toward the end, where before we dissolved that business, she and I had different work styles. We really wanted different things, and the business
Mm-hmm.
together wasn't working very well anymore. And I'll be honest, that was actually a much more difficult transition for me than my transition from, doing contract work with a life coach school, because and probably for her too. I can't speak for her on it, right? But here both of us had been putting all of our heart and soul into building that brand up. And because I was the main like I was really the marketing piece of it. I was writing all the copy, right? And so I felt like this was my brand. And then it's like we dissolve, and then I had to build up me as my own brand after having this partnership that people saw the brand as she and I together. And so that was a really hard rebuild for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've done this a few times.
Yeah.
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 Well, it makes me curious because I think things have changed a lot in the last 5 years, and I think changed
Yep.
for really good reasons. And I'm happy with where we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, like, what's working for you right now? What's inspiring for you in terms of creating
Mm-hmm.
visibility opportunity for yourself?
Mm-hmm. So, it's felt like a very weird few years for me because I've had a lot of like changes and shifts in my personal life and business, and it's just been a lot, but in a good way, right? I would say a lot of evolution is
Hmm.
happening. And so, um, for me, I really am leaning into, as I've been training coaches and training master coaches, I'm doing that. And I'm also kind of opening that up more to really serve leaders and people who are just ambitious go-getters in their life, and they need and want these coaching tools. So I'm kind of opening that up a bit. And my favorite thing to do, the thing that is just like, not only do I love it, but it works really well for me, is getting in front of and speaking to audiences, speaking to people, because for me it's like, you know, um when I can be with people and be present with them and have that experience with them. And I mean, I think this is the case for, many people, but um, that's really the thing that I think people can tell and feel and know that they click with me, that it
Hmm.
resonates. And I really like that personal aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same for me. I don't know that it's speaking, but it's just that what can I do and where can I be so that someone can feel my energy? Because people buy
Mhm.
our energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it feels like there has to be, for me and my clients, that personal connection there. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your greatest hope for this book that you've just
Oh
collaborated
my
on?
gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, um, my hope is that, well, a couple things. As far as just the book, my hope is that it illuminates for the women that read it, some very important principles that I just believe in my heart and soul. And that is how important each human being is in this book, right? Each woman, like how important you are as a human being,
Hmm.
how much your feelings matter, how much what you want matters. And really, my hope is that it will impact women in a way that they will feel more connected with themselves, more whole as a person.
Fantastic.
So that's my hope for the book. And then for all of my clients, all of these, beautiful coaches, my hope is that this is just, one more step in them. The book is called She Rises, but one more step in them kind of rising up to owning their expertise and getting their individual messages out there. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Cool. Okay. So, as we wrap up, sometimes it's fun to give people a little piece of homework or something to do, an inquiry maybe. And with what we've been talking about today, visibility and leveraging whatever audiences we do have access to or have created.
Mhm.
Is there a piece of homework you would give people or something to think about?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like think about where your ideal clients are right now. Who are they in front of? And in particular, think about someone who has an audience that needs what you offer, right? So I think about like a lender and a realtor.
Mhm.
That is like a perfect partnership right there, right? The lender needs good realtors and the realtor needs good lenders. So when you think about what you're doing, who is that person that you need to be connected with who is going to be eager to refer to you and how can you leverage those relationships? So that's what
I
I
love
got.
that.
It's my best
Okay.
my best tip.
Do the homework, everybody.
Do the homework.
Okay. So we'll link the book in the show notes. Is there anything else you would want to share with people today in terms of where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. So mollyclaire.com is where you can find me. My podcast is called Life Mastered. It was rebranded from the Masterful Coach podcast. So you'll find all kinds of stuff there for coaches. And also, if you are just an ambitious soul, ready to have your life be better. And that's what it's about. So mollyclaire.com, Molly Claire Coaching on Instagram. Basically, if you just find Molly Claire on all the socials, that's
You'll
where I'll
be
be.
in. Perfect. Well, thank you for being here and for sharing a little bit about your experience being visible and what you've done with it because it's working for you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.